Hello, students. I'm going to talk to you about chapters 4 and 5 in They Say, I Say. This was a required text for the class, but it took forever for the bookstore to put it up. So I'm going to just tell you what I want you to learn from these chapters, and just reply to this video for this week's assignment, and I'll figure out what to do for the next one. I think I've reached the limit of the amount of pages I can copy without violating copyright. So if you're not able to get the book, I will figure out a workaround for you. Hopefully you got the book so you can keep this book for your other courses in writing. It's got a lot of useful things in it. And chapter 4 is about responding to what they say. All right, so this is when you're going to begin to weigh in with your own thoughts in the conversation. Different phrasing techniques, but the basics are that these writers say there are only 3 ways to respond. You either agree, disagree, or partly agree and partly disagree. And so first you have to determine to what degree you're aligned with what the writer is saying, or how much you disagree. Like with the article for this week's discussion, Left Behind. Because it is a controversial subject, I could see people agreeing and disagreeing with the topic. On page 64, there are some templates for disagreeing with reasons. Let me just read a couple of these. You can get a sense of what you could possibly do. X's claim that blank rests on the questionable assumption that blank. So if you're introducing somebody else's ideas and you disagree with them, you could say that you could come to that conclusion that they're making assumptions for the basis of their argument, and that would be a way to disagree with them. X's claim that blank rests on the questionable assumption that blank. You could say, I disagree with X's view that blank because as recent research has shown, blank. Right? So the basic idea is that you are showing what they say in a sentence that also includes the rebuttal. Because ultimately, you want to weigh in with your own thoughts in the conversation, and that's the primary part of your essay. You're using what they say to showcase the fact that it's a debate and that there are people out there you disagree with. That's what's going to give your essay its relevance. It's important because it's part of a debate. You may agree, but with a difference. Quote from page 66, like disagreeing, agreeing is less simple than it may appear. Just as you need to avoid simply contradicting views you disagree with, you also need to do more than simply echo views you agree with. Even as you're agreeing, it's important to bring something new and fresh to the table, adding something that makes you a valuable participant in the conversation. So, for example, you may say something like, X is surely right about blank because, as they may not be aware, recent studies have shown that blank. So you're supplementing their argument with research that you've done. You could say, X's theory of blank is extremely useful because it sheds light on the difficult problem of blank. So you're taking somebody's argument and applying it to a different problem. There are a lot of different templates that you can use in this chapter. You could agree and disagree simultaneously. You could say, yes, it's true that blank, but blank, right? So the key thing is that you articulate what it is you agree with and you make clear what it is you disagree with. You don't just agree, but you agree and add to the argument by pointing to new research or applying it to a different problem. Chapter 5, and yet, distinguishing what you say from what they say. So first of all, you need to be clear about who is saying what. Sometimes in articles, they're citing sources as well. So you need to be clear that you are discussing the right person and not discussing somebody's ideas that they're discussing. You also want to be very clear when you're quoting that you either agree or disagree with them, but that's not your statement. So for example, you could say, although X makes the best possible case for universal government-funded healthcare, I am not persuaded. Right? So that's a disagreement statement, but it does the work of being very clear about who is saying what and that you disagree. So just respond to this video, giving me a sense that you understand when you are writing and you're quoting people, you need to either agree, disagree, or both with them. And that when you are quoting people, you need to make it very clear as to who is saying what and not make it appear as though you are the one coming up with the ideas that are in your quotes. All right, so just respond to this video if you don't have the book this week. And tomorrow I'll be uploading videos for next week's assignment. And I will come up with the solution for those of you who don't have this book. I think I might there's an appendix at the end that has the index of templates. I think I'll just scan that for you and then just make videos about what I want you to understand for the chapters. All right. Hope you're having a great weekend. Email me with any questions, and I'll see you soon.